Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with Damon Benning and Jacob Padilla.
Voice, that means it is another week. I am with my main man, Jacob Padilla. He's coming off a very, very busy weekend. We're getting ready to transition sports, but before that, we got some recaps to do. Man, how you been?
Good. We kind of had to push us back a few days here, but finally managed to find some time to squeeze it in here and talking about some old stuff here. But it's good to kind of still hash out all this stuff and highlight some kids that deserve it. And
Absolutely.
especially as we're winding down here, we've still got just got like 1-2 more weeks left of summer basketball, and then it's time to start looking at football and head to the school year. Hard to believe.
Absolutely. The Elite Eight had their weekend.
The Pro 16, the finals in Omaha, the 17U.
ATG was in Vegas. They'll have their last tournament at kind of a recruit look deal. Mostly NAIA. There'll be a
D2.
D2.
Yeah.
There'll be some colleges down in Kansas City, so I think they're going to do.
Is Caleb playing?
He's not going to play.
I thought that based on the tweet after last week.
He's not going to play. So we're full go and transitioning to football and they'll be a little shorthanded, but the guys that need it will get good work.
The Nebraska Supreme 17 will be even more shorthanded. So those guys are going to have a rough weekend with some of the players that they won't have available. But it'll be good. Nebraska Supreme, ETG 17s, Nebraska Hoops Elite 17s, OSA will be down there. AEF will be down there. So good teams to follow. I'll be down there in Kansas City, kind of my last tournament. Then the week after here in Omaha, Lincoln or whatever, I forgot. I think it's Lincoln. There's one more Next Pro event that a few, I think Lincoln Supreme and Nebraska Hoops Elite are playing in. And then that's it for summer basketball. It's said on the football, but let's first look back at what just happened here in Omaha with the Pro 16 finals and then kind of the surrounding tournament. Mentioned it was the 17U Elite Eight, and we had 2 Nebraska teams qualify in Nebraska Supreme and Omaha Elite. Nebraska Supreme, they fell in the quarterfinal round, the first game against Las Vegas Knicks, 54-49, and man, they just could not get the ball to go in the basket, could not score. They did a great job defensively. The Knicks have a player that's getting D1 offers, mid-major and a little bit of high major interest. And they really kept him in check, held him at 13 points on 18 shots. But their point guard played really well, and Pop Njai, 7-foot shot blocker, had 15 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks against them. He's a very talented shot blocker, but they just, again, they didn't shoot the ball great from 3 and just had a tough time scoring inside the arc, which is something that you kind of worry about with that team, especially losing Bengat Dak. That's one other source of finishing around the basket and that they had in the spring when they beat the Knicks during the regular season. But still good showing for them in the tournament, making it to this point. And then Omaha Elite, they won their quarterfinal round, got down, I think, came back and won it 49-47.
Impressive out of the gates, right? We're down early, double digits, then made a run, which is interesting in a game like that where you don't score a lot of points to begin with to go on those kind of runs.
Yeah, and won by 2 against BTI United and ended up being Minor Strong, who talked about didn't have a great weekend down in Houston. It was kind of Dale Ron Thomas and others taking the lead there. Minor was really good this weekend. He hit the game-winning free throws in that game, and then Quentin McCafferty, who had 15 points in the game, teamed up with Devin Holman for a block at the buzzer.
He had a good weekend.
Yeah. Showed well in front of coaches on Saturday in those bracket games. So they advanced to the semifinals there, where they played AAO Flight, who is the only team that beat the eventual champion, One Family, during the regular season. AAO is a really good team. We got a pair of dynamic guards. One, Lane Taylor's going to Florida Atlantic, and Ty Robinson's going to Florida Atlantic, and then their point guard Lane Taylor, little guy, but man, he gets buckets. So they put up a heck of a fight in that one. Again, they were down. They battled back into it. Ended up falling just a little bit short, 77-74. Had a chance at the couple of chances at the end to get it tied and just couldn't quite get a good look off. So Minor again had 17 in that one. McCafferty had 15. So just like the previous game, Taylor Thomas had 14. Devin Holman had 13. Trey Griggs playing up had 9. So they got contributions from everybody. Played pretty well offensively. Completely opposite game from the other one, but just couldn't quite pull it out there. And then both teams kind of let down. They struggled in the consolation games. Nebraska Supreme went 1-2. Omaha Elite went 0-2 in their consolations, but kind of understandable. Nebraska Supreme played really shorthanded on Sunday with their 2 games there. So overall, pretty good showing for Nebraska. I think, what was it? 11-3, I think, was the combined record for all 4 Nebraska teams in the league in the tournament. So not bad for a state with less than 2 million population. Correct. And another shoe circuit to support.
1,000%. You got, it's not only do you not have the numbers, you have a couple of other, potential contributors playing in a different shoe league.
Yep. So that was kind of the Pro 16 finals. They also had kind of another just kind of four pool game type of tournament for everybody else that wasn't part of the bracket play there, including 17U and so that Nebraska or Lincoln Supreme, Nebraska Hoops Elite, they had Nebraska Supreme 16s. They played up, and my team played up in the 16U division. So the Lincoln Supreme National 1 went 4-0. I only got to see one of their games, but it's team with good size, good guard play, well-rounded, good chemistry.
That's the key. I'm with you there. Pretty well-rounded. That's a good, complete roster to go play against a couple of different styles of teams.
Yeah, and Cale Gustafson from Osceola and Ben Ehlers combined for 24 points and 13 rebounds in the game I mentioned. Ehlers just received an offer from Briarcliff after this weekend. Aiden McDowell, who's had a really good spring and summer for them, 21 points, went 5 of 7 from 3. Dane Jacobson just did a little bit of everything, 8 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, just kind of stuff in the stat sheet like he does. So good weekend for them. And their second team, the National 2, went 3-1 as well. I didn't get to see a full game of them, but we talked about them after River Cities, after a good showing there, I believe it was. Nebraska Hoops Elite, Black, I got to see all 4 of their games. They went 3-1. And the guy that really popped this weekend was Malual Kong from Omaha Gross, who just had a terrific weekend, especially the last 2 games. He really took over. It was really impressive to see just him hitting shots and crashing the glass. He was all over the offensive glass. In the 4 games, averaged 15 points, 10 boards, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, shot 39% from 3, 57% from the field overall, had 21 and 10 in a game, had 21 and 12 in their last game. So just 4 offensive rebounds a game. So he's a guy I know. Just ran into Terrence O'Donnell over at Gross the other day, and I know he's really excited about him.
Big fan
in the senior year. So
big fan.
Yeah. And that team, Tay Moore, Benji Nelson, Ricky Lofton, his first game was one of the best games I saw all weekend. Had 26, went 9 of 12 from the field, including 5 of 5 from 3. Had 4 steals as well, and a win over KC Spurs. And then Tay Moore had a 21-point game. Benji Nelson was in double figures all 4 games, had 18 points in the last game. Shot the ball well.
Hang on right there. What do you think's next in his game for Benji?
The little bit of the consistency, and then
so explosive.
The ball handling has to polish up if he wants to continue to play on the wing. You can see him getting picked a little bit. He's so tall and long. You get smaller guards on you, it's hard to be tight with that ball.
Just the ability to change levels.
Yeah, and that's, Kevin Durant is just an unreal.
And he's an exception.
You even see that with the Suns in the playoffs, where he got the ball taken from him a lot of times because they're just swarming the dribble, and it's so long. He's so far away from the ground. It's just hard to be that tight and put the ball exactly where we want it. So that's probably kind of continuing to polish up the ball handling and getting stronger. And I know he's going to prep school. We'll see kind of what he's able to gain out there, but definitely he's continued to improve quite a bit, and there are definitely a lot of tools to like there.
Okay, so I think with that team and the versatility, would you like to see them stay together a little longer because it's a good roster.
Yeah, and they were originally going to be done, but they're like after the last couple of weeks, or they had the one in Lincoln, but they weren't going to go this weekend. But they're like, well, we're kind of on a roll here. Let's jump into the Hardwood Classic late. So they're going to be down there in Kansas City now, so I get a chance to play it again. Just got to hope that everybody's healthy. I know Ricky didn't play in their last game. Felt a little soreness in the knee. Just didn't want to risk it. Kong got a kind of banged up his shoulder at the end. So hopefully they can have kind of full roster. They had a couple guys that were in and out throughout the weekend, but yeah, that main core there, it's a pretty solid team. So hopefully they can have a good showing down in Kansas City this weekend. Yeah, Nebraska Supreme playing up. They went 0-4, but they had a couple of close losses against 17U teams. Just couldn't quite execute down the stretch. Probably the best game I saw from them was Kyle Cannon. Had 17 points. I went 4 or 5 from 3, hit 3 free throws against Nebraska Hoops Elite. They were in a tight one with them and had a chance to tie it at the end, and somebody missed a free throw, so couldn't quite pull that thing off. But they gave themselves a chance. Like, that's the thing. Like, they've had so many games where they put themselves in a chance to win and can't quite finish it off. So that's kind of what those guys need to learn, is how to finish a game and play in the clutch. 16U division, my team, we went 3-1, played 3 16U teams, and then the 15U 1 seed from the Pro 16 Louisiana Elite, who we lost to back in the spring.
And didn't get the chance to see them last week because of the
lost in the quarterfinals.
Lost in the quarters.
So they were missing a few guys. It wasn't full strength, but still felt good to kind of handle that one. We won by 6 or won by 14 in that one. We beat first team of the weekend. We won by 26. And then the one loss we suffered was to a rogue team where, man, they were just so much bigger, longer, physically developed than we were. And the officiating didn't help. We got stuck on a court where they weren't really calling anything. So that definitely puts the smaller, younger team at a disadvantage, because they kind of roughed us up a little bit, and we just couldn't score efficiently enough, like we had been recently. But gave ourselves a chance again. Then we got it down to, I think 4 points, had a look for a 3, didn't go down. They go down, hit a free throw or 2. And then we got another chance to score and cut into it, and just couldn't get the ball to go in. So, but we bounced back with a 62-61 win against BTI Select 16U, another Pro 16 team. And man, Nate Kelly, game winner at the buzzer.
It's funny because last week you kind of said during this show, listen, that's a guy that I trust, right? Had a little bit of a shaky start, but that's the guy at the end of the game. I put the ball in his hands and I say, hey, listen, let's go make a play. And watching him do exactly what he did at the buzzer, survey. Got the little ball screen and went to work.
Yeah, they went ahead, 10 seconds left, called timeout, advanced the ball, run a little play to get the ball into his hands, and set up a ball screen and let him make the decision from there. And got downhill, didn't even cleanly beat the guy, get past him. It's just took the contact, extend with the left hand, and kind of finger rolled it up. And it hung around the rim for a little second. I was like, ooh, because the other team had just missed a shot that circled and then somehow
you could hear the crowd too on the video.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, and then it dropped. So yeah, Nate, solid this weekend. Again, we kind of, Derek Tonjas had a good weekend as normal. Owen Anderson had a couple really good games. Jordan Iguema continued to make a big impact. Trevin Wilkins,
another one of the young guys that had the really good off season.
Yeah. So that was my team. We're was it 6-2, 11-2 so far this month, heading into this last weekend. So pretty good July for my team. The Lincoln Supreme National 160 went 3-1. Saw a couple of their games, and Ryan Houston was really good from York. Had 19-10 against Apex Athletic. And then had 13-9 against Nebraska Hoops Elite Black. So kind of in-state battle there. Parker Kelly from Lincoln Pius is another guy that just kind of has a unique game, but just gets buckets, kind of gets to that in-between, that mid-range, has really good touch, body control where he can get downhill and hit the floater.
What do you think about their depth this season? Because I know, listen, you've got, and they'll be healthy this year, which I think kind of plagued them a little last year, but they've got a good 5.
Yeah, I think they got about 6 or 7 maybe at this point that had a chance to play for them and do some things in June. Obviously, the injuries that weren't at full strength. So you had a couple other guys that maybe got a little more experience that you can insert into that lineup. So it's just kind of rounding that out, getting that chemistry when you've got everybody, having the guys that were backups last year step up and be ready for that starter role. And just kind of seeing how it all fits together. But they definitely got the pieces. I think you probably put them at number 1 in Lincoln, just right off the top, kind of heading in the season and see how things develop with that. So they're the one that didn't have a lot of change. Right. They're the one that kind of kept their guys together outside of the graduating seniors. So,
now Northeast looks different without Chuck Love. You've got
North Star, KG Gatwich isn't going to be there next year.
And they got young in a hurry, for them, and Southwest is going to have so many of familiar faces in a new place, right? We've seen those guys hoop in Lincoln, but just not at Southwest. So that would be interesting. I was curious to hear, White, what you thought, but you'd make Pius probably the fave.
Yeah, I put them at number 1 heading into the season in terms of Lincoln. Again, just based on where they're starting from compared to everybody else trying to figure it out. They've got the size. They've got some guard play, the pretty well-rounded team. You look at it, they've got guards, forwards, and a big.
I thought you may like Lincoln East a little.
They've got a lot to figure out. They really only have a couple of guys that are significant varsity contributors to this point. So obviously Carter Mick coming back, and then Quinn Weatherholt transferring over. But outside of that, they got a lot of kind of JV varsity swingers that have to step up and show they're ready to be varsity guys that they can rely on. So they've got a chance. I mean, good coaching and a good program. They'll be all right.
Coach Campbell is fantastic.
Yeah, just got to see a little bit more from them. And wrapping up, the 15s, Lincoln Supreme National went 2-2, but I was there. The game I got to see was a 48-50 loss to the Iowa Barnstormers Gold, who really good team. It was a good showing by Supreme, really good defensively. Just couldn't quite get enough shots to go in. But Uzziah Sanders, twin brother Makai on my team at Lincoln Southwest, really aggressive. Ended up with 12 points, 3 steals. Got down the hill, had some really impressive finishes. And then Treston Haas from Seward had a double-double with 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals. So that's kind of the recap of Omaha. Mentioned ETG was out in Las Vegas, and really successful weekend for the program as a whole. 17s and 15s went 4-1, and the 16s went 5-0.
That 16s, they're so they have a lot of pieces, but when they figured out kind of how they want to play together, whether it's Kircher getting some help handling the ball, Bryson Ball shooting it well. You've got big long wings. Frager is explosive. They have some pieces there. Sometimes they get in their own way, but it's another one of those good rosters.
Yeah, and congrats to Braden for receiving the invitation to the 3SSB camp. It's a cool opportunity for him. But like you said, there's sometimes where the ball's just not going in, the offense isn't flowing, got some turnovers. But man, when those guys are rolling, like you said, they got all the pieces to be a really good team. So they beat Corey Graham Elite, Mountain Stars, Riverside Hawks, Texas Impact 413, and Idaho Premier. And the only one that was really close was the Texas Impact, and they pulled out an 83-82 game in that one. So nice job by them executing in a close game. Definitely high scoring in that one. But 17s, their one loss was to Arizona Select, but beat the San Francisco Rebels Pro 1, who led by Creighton commit Ty Davis.
Yeah, they did a really good job on
that one by 21.
I think he finished with 4 points in that one.
Jack,
they did a really good job. They can switch, guys get under them.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like we talked about kind of limitations and the struggles with size and rebound and all that, but one thing they can do, they can hound guards. You got some guys that can get after it. So
they multiple
did options.
And that's the thing, right? The combination of Jaden and Caleb, and they just make it miserable. And didn't get a lot of good looks at it. And I think they knew. I mean, with Coach Mack being there, it was just there was a little extra juice. little extra juice for that one.
And that Veritas team, is that one they've played before?
Yeah.
Or is it different? Okay.
It is.
So they've seen it once or twice before, right? Yeah. So I think they lost the last one, correct?
Yes,
so
they did.
Got them
in
back,
a similar
56-50.
fashion, just almost gave it away. This one, they stayed on the gas.
Yeah. So 56-50 to close out the weekend there and close out the AAU career for Caleb. I'm sure it's always bittersweet when you get to this point. It's got to be tough. But,
it is. He's like I said, they're in Kansas City this weekend, but he's still training, and they got a camping trip with their senior group, and he definitely doesn't want to miss that to get the football season started. So we're full time. They did a ton for him. Coach Mitchell, Alvin, Ronco, those guys, Coach Fisher, Cody, just did a good job. He's been with Alvin since it's first grade, kindergarten. I mean, it's been his only coach in the summer. So it's been a long, good ride and a good 12 years or whatever it was.
And the 15s lost their first game by 12, but bounced back to win their last 4, including 2 close games by 3 points.
Which they hadn't been able to do this summer, is finding ways to win close games. That's one of those teams, they're kind of getting better. You made a couple of changes late with Prince joining the team. It changed them, I think, their mental toughness instantly, because he's so competitive,
and he does a lot of the connecting
dirty
things.
work.
He's a good passer, good rebounder. He can get downhill. Like that team, I think, struggle with kind of meshing everything together. It's more like one guy's rolling and some of the other guys are struggling. You got some shooters, but in terms of defense, rebounding, all that type of stuff, struggle to kind of put the whole thing together. So I think he kind of connects that a little bit, fits in where he can score, but he does other things in addition to scoring, and that helps put the scorers in position to do what they do well. So really good showing by the program. Again, the 15s and 16s are done. 17s down is Caleb the only one not going to be playing? Are they going to have the other 8?
So we'll see what happens. I don't think they'll get a rope.
Yeah,
they won't get Caleb, but everybody else will be good to go.
Cool. So I will see them down there.
Are you leaving Friday?
Yeah, we play at 3:00 on Friday. So
you finally got an afternoon tilt out of town. Those are tough.
First game, we're playing in the first time slot of the weekend. So my Western Nebraska kids are coming down today. I'm staying in Lincoln and then doing the rest of the trip down to Kansas City.
That's cool.
Easier for them. So
you kind of light up. You like spending time with your guys, don't you?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that. One, that they live so far away, and 2, just kind of the nature of the multi-sport and the spring overlap with the AU basketball. Because again, we're a really good team when we've got everybody together, and we just would have liked to have that more often, just for everybody. I think we went 500 in the spring, and now we're 11-2 in July when we've had most of our guys. So just kind of shows. I think everybody kind of slides into their role, and you've got multiple options when somebody's not playing well. I got other guy that might be playing well in that game. So, but yeah, and those kids are fun to be around too. It's good families. Really enjoyed the spring and summer when just wish we would have been able to practice a little bit more. But kind of the last couple of shout outs here before we get out of here. The Hardwood Classic 1 happened down in Kansas City the first weekend. And that was also the bracket finale for the recruit look. And MBDA made it to the semifinals there before losing to the eventual champion, Young and Reckless. So again, that's the team that they got healthy after River Cities. I did not get to see them play a single time with Trayson Anderson in the lineup next to Dylan Clausen and Cade Cook. Would have liked to have seen that.
A lot of length in that front court. And Cade Cook's coming off a good stretch. He's got another offer under his belt too.
D2 offers recently, so congrats to him. Really made the most of it. And Powerhouse Hoops Nebraska Skirka, they won their first bracket game and then lost in the second round. The 15s also lost in semifinals for Powerhouse Nebraska Skirka. And then OSA Klein in the kind of just the Hardwood Classic portion of it went 4-0 down there. And they really only the last game was close. They were controlled throughout the weekend. So it's a good roster. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to see them play this weekend as well. And they were without Cole Peterson, who injured his knee at River City. So
That's another week scheduled. Next week will be a little bit dicey with Big Ten Media Days. We're going to try not to take a week off. We will figure out the best day to get you what you need. It's Nebraska Preps Postgame. That's my man, Jacob Padilla. I'm ODB. Don't you dare miss us.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.